Have you ever looked at an image and just thought, wow, that needs to be a movie? Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are taking on a really fun creative challenge, breaking down how you can take one single static image and forge it into a legendary cinematic story. Okay, so check this out. This is the main screen from Free Fire Max. You've got it all right here. A soldier, a fighter jet screaming by, a panda, and these huge words right in the middle. The legend is back. It's bursting with energy, but at the end of the day, it's just a menu screen. So the big question is, how do we take this one moment and blow it up into a heart-pounding comeback story? Let's get into it. All right, the very first thing we got to do is change how we see this. It's not just a game menu anymore. From now on, think of this as a poster for a movie that hasn't been made yet. This image, this is our call to adventure. It's the final, triumphant shot of the story we're about to build from scratch. So, before we can start building a story, we need to figure out what our building blocks are, right? We're going to do a little detective work and deconstruct this single frame to find the key elements, the characters, the symbols that are going to become the pillars for our whole narrative. First up, we've got our protagonist. And look, this isn't just some random avatar on a screen. This character represents the hero of our comeback story. This is the player's stand-in. This is you. I mean, just look at the focus in her stance, that readiness. She's not just standing around, she's prepared for what's next. This character is all about the player's own grit and determination, the skill you bring to the game. She's totally poised for a comeback. Okay, next, let's look at that absolute force of nature in the background. That fighter jet isn't just some cool set dressing to make the screen look busy. Oh no, it represents the massive scale and the seriously high stakes of the battle. This right here is the chaos of the battlefield. You've got the fire, the smoke, the sheer raw power of that machine. It all works together to set this incredibly high-octane cinematic tone. It tells us that the world our hero is fighting in is dangerous, it's explosive, and it is not for the faint of heart. And then we have our wild card. The one element you would absolutely never expect to see in the middle of a war zone, the panda. And this isn't just some cute cosmetic pet, this is the unexpected heart and soul of our story. You know, the contrast here is what makes this so brilliant. In a scene that's packed with grit and explosions and military hardware, the panda gives it personality. It gives it something unique. It's the loyal sidekick, that little spark of individuality that's going to make our legend story really stand out from the crowd. Okay, so we've got our hero, we've got the chaotic world she lives in, and we've got her loyal companion. Now let's actually use these pieces to forge the ultimate comeback montage. This is the narrative blueprint that's going to create a real emotional journey. You know, every great comeback story has to have a struggle. So we start with the fall, we show our player getting eliminated, just barely losing fights. It's tough. Then we hit the grind, a rapid-fire sequence of them in the training grounds, swapping out gear, honing their skills. This builds up all that anticipation. The rise is the big turning point. The music swells up as they land that first incredible shot. And finally, domination. We unleash an absolute highlight reel of pure skill, a symphony of victory that pays off all that buildup in the best way possible. And what's the engine driving this whole thing? The music. Absolutely. The edit has to live and breathe with the soundtrack. Think about the pacing like a heartbeat. It starts slow and heavy during the fall, then it races faster and faster through the grind, and it hits this absolute peak for the domination, as every single cut, every action lands perfectly on the beat. This moment right here, this is the climax of the rise phase. Right before domination totally kicks in, you cut to a black screen, the music just pauses for a split second, and then bam, these words flash on the screen. It's such a powerful statement. The legend didn't just return, they've been completely reforged in the fire. So after that super powerful moment, we unleash the final sequence. This is the payoff. This is where all the narrative threads we've been weaving, the struggle, the grind, the rise, all come together into a finale that is just so satisfying for the viewer. And where does our whole video end? We end it right back where we started. The final shot is a triumphant recreation of this exact screen. But now, it's not just a menu anymore, is it? After seeing the entire journey, this image feels earned. It's become a monument to the victory. So, there you have it. We took a static image and we turned it into a dynamic, emotional story.
Now, let's boil all this down into a clear framework that you can use for your own creative projects.
So here's the blueprint. It's pretty simple. First, deconstruct whatever you're working with to find its core story elements. Look for the hero, the world, and that unique wild card. Next, build that emotional arc. Take your audience from the low of the struggle to the absolute high of the triumph. Then, use music and pacing as your engine, letting the rhythm drive every single cut you make. And finally, bring it all home with a payoff shot that gives your beginning a whole new, powerful meaning. And look, this isn't just about one game or one image. This is a blueprint for storytelling, period. So whether you're a gamer, an editor, or just a creator with an idea, the question is exactly the same. You've got the tools now to forge a legend. So what will your comeback look like?